I'm Stuart Gus, official personal injury attorney of U of H Athletics. As you know, a great quarterback wins championships. If you've been injured in an auto accident, big or small, you can trust Gus to quarterback your case.
Call 866-TRUST-GUS today. Principal Office, Houston, Texas.
I guess I'm alone. Here he comes. Starns, what'd you think?
I thought that this defense looks amazing. Absolutely amazing. I said to start, I apologize. You could just tell the depth that this team has, especially on the perimeter, as talked about going into the season. But when you have Jamal Shead playing, I don't know how many minutes he played in the first half, but it wasn't a lot. And then you're comfortably up 24. It is the first game of the season. It doesn't mean a whole lot. But when you're able to play Jamal Shead not many minutes, when last year he was really relied on him, and Marcus Sasser really had to play a lot of minutes. And you could throw in guys like Emmanuel Sharp, Terrence Arsenault, Malik Wilson, Ramon Walker in spots, and they all can play really good defense, and this team can shut guys down as they, as a standard. It just really, it was really impressive. I mean, 31 points, third fewest in school history, fewest under Kelvin Sampson, fewest since 1951 against Texas A&M.
So think about that for a minute. That was Harry Truman as president. So you went through Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, LBJ, Nixon, Gerald Ford, Jimmy Carter, Reagan, George Herbert Walker, Bill Clinton, George W., Barack Obama, Trump, Biden. That's a lot of presidents since you last gave up just 31 points. We just did 45 seconds on president names, by the way. That's pretty good podcast.
History buff over here.
What's that?
You're the history buff.
Yeah, the scoreboards just went out in front of me, which was my light, and then behind us. Louisiana Monroe was 6 of 17 on free throws today. So you played great defense, and you even rattled them at the line. I mean, that's bad. I, like you, it's the defense that really impressed me tonight. I thought the offense kind of started out a little shaky. Jamal Shead seemed like he was pressing a little. But the defense today, tomorrow, and forever under this coaching staff will carry the day. Send in your questions or comments.
I mean, when you throw out a lineup with Terrence Arsenault, Malik Wilson, Jamal Shead, and then, I mean, any one of the bigs, Shawan, JoJo Tugler, Javier Francis, and then just throw in any other guard. If Ramon Walker's another guard there, that's just defensively. I mean, can't break through the perimeter, and if you do, one of those bigs is there waiting. Again, it's one game. It's not a whole lot you should take from it, but
it's a comma month, right? Kelvin just told us in the post game that November is a comma month, March is a period month. You play for the period month, not the comma month. And so we're all making a big deal of this because of 31 points and just how they looked. The excitement in this building was something great. It was not packed, but the people that were here were loud and very into this game for 40 minutes. A lot of students. You have to be impressed with how the students showed up. I am impressed. I have made that trip to Monroe more times than I can count. My mother went to school at NLU, now ULM. My grandparents lived there, and that's a horrible trip in the comfort of a very nice car and a bus all night to go back to class tomorrow. That's not so great. And then everybody knows you only scored 31. Let's hear some sound from Kelvin Sampson. How about that? This one's funny.
They've been part of it. 10 to 31 points.
I think mainly last year, just getting it and really just breaking me in.
How much of that is sort of early season trying things out versus, the depth of this team?
No, that's probably what it is. I'm not going to play 10 guys first half many nights. I don't want to. Why would you? But we have 10 good players, though. A guy that's really improved that didn't play, might have been the last guy even, was Ramon. Ramon's a good player. He's a good player. His freshman year, we're 40 minutes away from going to the Final Four. Think about that. He's 40 minutes away from going to a Final Four, and he was the only guard that came off the bench. And now he's the last guy in the game to that. And he's improved. He's a lot better player now than he was during that Final Four year. It's credit Ramon, though. He spends a lot of time. I come up here at different times of the day, early in the morning, late at night. It seems like every time I come in here, Ramon's always in the gym working. And that's credit to him. I'm really proud of him. Because adversity is, he's had some adversity he's had to get through. He's also learned a valuable lesson, which is what our job is as coaches, is teach these kids that nobody's going to give you anything. You got to work for it. Life is not easy. Life gets in the way sometimes. You start taking things for granted, then be prepared to suffer the consequences. And everything has consequences. Everything. So our kids were connected to.
Sorry about that. ULM scored 31 points. Houston scored 30 points off turnovers. If you just took ULM's points and U of H's points off turnovers, U of H loses by a point. That's how good they played. What did you think specifically about this defense? What impressed you?
I think that it's just longer. The length and the athleticism is striking compared to
We're going to figure it out.
last year. I think last year your biggest guards were it was Tremont Mark and Terrence Arsenault. Terrence Arsenault didn't play a whole lot. And then outside of that, Jamal Shedd, smaller guard, Marcus Sasser, 6'2"-ish, and Emmanuel Sharp, 6'2", 6'3". But now you just have this length with Damian Dunn out there, Malik Wilson out there, along with Terrence Arsenault, and then it's just the activity, the active hands. U of H teams always have active hands. We're looking to force turnovers, but there's so many times where it seemed like a ULM player was just trying to get to a drive, and it was immediately just taken from them, and they were off to the races. It was 25 turnovers. It was 15 steals. And then however many shot clock violations. I want to say there was something like 5.
I think that's fair.
Just the amount of ground. A lot of on the perimeter they're able to cover is
Crazy.
striking. Crazy.
Yeah. The length and the athleticism, just what can you say? You obviously want to see it against a better team. It's going to be a while. The whole point of this preseason schedule was to have time to do what you did tonight. All 12 guys played that are not redshirting. Everybody had 3 minutes, or said Lott. I did it again. Said Lott had 2:58, but everybody basically had 3 minutes or more. You played 10 in the first half, like you said. That's a really big deal. I don't remember seeing that from this program, but you haven't had this kind of depth. Talking to Kelvin last Monday for an extended period of time, and then talking to other coaches over the last week, you really hear how much they like this team. They like this roster. They like the depth. They like the frontline talent. They think this could be the best team they've had. And that's saying a lot. You know, a couple of the teams that you've had over the last 3 or 4 years have been really, really good. Yes, his wingspan is 1.5 feet, well, almost 2 feet longer than I am. So, yeah, that's a lot of wingspan. There goes a finger.
His hands goes down to his knees.
Is that good? Let me see. Well, I'm sitting and mine go to my knees, so I guess that's kind of the same thing.
Standing.
Oh, yeah. I don't have that. Emmanuel Sharp, the way he has played offense since July has really been impressive. Kelvin was mad at him in the scrimmage in August 1st. They didn't have any rebounds, I don't believe. He didn't have any rebounds tonight. And when he sat down and looked at the stat sheet when he got into the interview room, that's what he said. He was like, "Oh, I didn't have any rebounds?" Like, yeah, I would have been watching that. And but he's going to hear about it in film tomorrow for sure. And come Saturday, watch his rebound numbers. I bet they're going to be a little bit better. So if you say what's your headline in this game, what are you saying? Defense?
It has to be the defense. At first it made it seem like it was going to be Damian Dunn because was it 9 straight points he had?
It's 14, right? He had 14.
It might have been 14
at one point. Yeah.
Yeah, and it seemed like this guy was just going to blow the doors off of the game and score something crazy. He ended up with 18. They didn't need him to score any more than what he did.
He played less than 18 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good little number for 18 minutes.
Yeah. But the defense was just insane. There was just nothing. They didn't allow anything.
That is accurate. All right, we're going to do something. We're going to do a 15-second commercial, and then we're going to come back with something pretty important.
I'm Stuart Gus, official personal injury attorney of U of H Athletics. As you know, a great quarterback wins championships. If you've been injured in an auto accident, big or small, you can trust Gus to quarterback your case.
Call 866-TRUST-GUS today. Principal office, Houston, Texas.
So Reggie Chaney passed away on August 22nd. He was a bedrock part of this program. He meant so much to so many players, past and present. Kelvin Sampson, one of the reasons, maybe the main reason, we had our conversation last Monday was to talk about Reggie. And for him to finally be able to open up and talk publicly about what Reggie meant to him, what he meant to this program, what he meant to the players. Reggie was a part of everything this program did. When the team would sit and watch film, Kelvin told me this last Monday, they watch film, and almost every day when they're trying to show the new guys how to do something, it's a film of Reggie doing it. And it's just kind of inevitable that he's going to be a part of every day and every practice. They've had grief counselors. They've talked through this time and time again because it's really affected these guys in a different kind of way. It really has affected Juwan Roberts. I've talked to him 5 or 6 times since this happened. about Reggie and about how it's affected him, and it's really been tough on him. And he looked up to Reggie as a big brother, as sort of a surrogate dad. Reggie was the guy that Juwan was trying to be on the court. So what we're going to do now is play for you the tribute that they played at halftime. The PA guy talks over Javier and Juwan talking at the beginning, but it's still a very moving tribute. We're going to then come back, and then we're going to take you to Kelvin's comments in the post game. So let's see the tribute, and then we'll come back to the post game.
A native of Tulsa, Oklahoma, Reggie joined the Cougars for the 2021 season and broke into the starting lineup in the second half of the season, helping lead the Cougars to the NCAA Final Four for the first time since 1984. In 3 seasons in Houston, Reggie competed in more than 100 games and was recognized as the 2023 American Athletic Conference 6th Man of the Year for his valuable contributions.
Talk to him. Like you want to talk, and he'll show you how to do it, and then just follow it.
I told Reggie right through a brick wall. Coach, can I get it on the spot?
Obviously, the audio wasn't great on that. I believe that the program is going to share that on social media very soon. So you'll be able to see that, the original cut, the original version of that. Kelvin obviously talked about this with me last week, and we posted it, I believe, Thursday. And if you haven't seen it, really go check that out on GoCougs.com or YouTube, because he talked about his sister, Karen, his twin sister, who died during the conference tournament, and Reggie, and how those two have kind of defined his year. After the game, Chris Gardner from Houston Roundball Review asked Kelvin about Reggie, and I wanted to just share his answer on that.
Well, I remember the day I told the team we were going to do that. And I thought about it that morning before I went to the players meeting. We were doing construction on the second floor over in the Fabulous Center, Development Center. But our kids were just emotional mess. Now, Damien and LJ and JoJo and Cordell and Sid and Jacob, those guys didn't know Reggie. They knew of him, but they didn't know him. Emmanuel, Jamal, J1, those guys were highly emotional. And I asked a grief counselor to come in and talk to our kids. And after the, I can't remember if it was before or after the grief counselor, these kids probably remember. As I told them that, Reggie's always going to be in our hearts. That's why we have memories. Even though someone near and dear to our hearts left us, we have his memories. And we're also going to put number 32 on our jersey this year, so he'll be close to us. And I could tell that, they all nodded their heads while they were wiping their noses and tears off their eyes and stuff. But, a couple of them still have their days, especially J1. J1's like that. somebody always, if there's not a day goes by, we don't mention Reggie somehow, some way, whether it's someone asks me a question or I think about it. We watch film every day. You know, Reggie was probably our best pick and roll defender, our smartest pick and roll defender. So we use clips of just his edits on side pick and roll, middle pick and roll, slot pick and roll, angle pick and roll, whatever, to show him this is how Reggie learned how to do this, and then he created his way of doing it. So Reggie's you know, still special, always will be.
So, what are your thoughts on what you've seen over the last week from Kelvin? You're on mute, by the way. I think you muted yourself.
I mean, we've never really seen him talk like that. And I mean, he was just so candid, so genuine. You know, it's really refreshing to see. And, you know, I mean, Reggie was just through and through Houston Cougar culture player. And,
yeah,
you know, I think it was after the exhibition game, I asked you, you know, how many players are there that are like tailor-made for Kelvin Sampson, and Reggie's one of them. And, you know, I had a few interactions with Reggie. You could just tell he's just a really good guy, really nice guy, gentle, really, you know, gentle giant. And you could just tell he's an awesome teammate and an awesome leader, just as a veteran. And, you know, it's amazing that they're keeping him in their memory with those patches. And, you know, grieving, it's not a linear thing.
No.
You know, this will affect everybody who knew him and who loved him for a long time.
Yeah, I got to know Reggie a little bit. I don't claim to know him very, very well. I just can't do that, you know. But I got to know him through some NIL stuff, through interviews, through interactions. We did something with the Spirit of Houston right before they went to Fort Worth for the conference tournament. And he was giving. He was just so appreciative of what he had. He was always giving to his teammates. He gave to us. He gave to everybody that I ever saw him come into interact with. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate how he treated people. A lot of people, a lot of players and coaches from tons of sports, tons of schools that I've dealt with, don't treat you very well. Think of you as an annoyance. Reggie never was like that. And the way he treated us in Kansas City when his college career was over, people would walk up or walk by and he would stand and say thank you and shake their hand. And that touched me in a way, looking back at it, that you just don't see that. And to get that from a guy who was that genuine on the court and that real with his teammates, but also is that way with us who don't matter. You know, we just don't. It affected me way more than I expected it to. And I think the way they're honoring him, what they did at halftime, I think that shows you what that guy was and who he was to this program. We're going to take a little short,
I'm Stuart Gus, official personal injury attorney of U of H Athletics. Cougar athletes have to trust their coaches and teammates, whether it's going for it on fourth down, nailing that three-point shot, or trusting your teammate to hit that walk-off home run. If you've been in an accident, big or small, do not go it alone. You can trust Gus to fight for your maximum recovery.
Call 866-TRUST-GUS today. TrustGus.com. Principal Office, Houston, Texas.
So you got a game on Monday. They have all week to Saturday lunchtime when they play again against Texas A&M, Corpus Christi. And there's a purpose to that. So you get to go through this film over and over and look at the mistakes and look where they were lacking and work it. And it's especially valuable to the young guys like JoJo Tugler, new guys trying to fit in, Damian Dunn, LJ Cryer. Cryer went 0 for Omaha until late in the second half when he hit 3 straight, I believe. Yeah, I think he played the most minutes of anyone. Maybe it was Dunn, but they got a lot of minutes. And, you know, those guys are going to be so important to what this team wants to do this year. And JoJo Tugler is going to be a big part of what they want to do. I don't know what the hell that noise is. Sounds like an engine on a jet that's coming through. If it happens, y'all, it was fun.
You can tell that they just want JoJo to learn. You mentioned this to me in the first half, but in the second half, I want to say they played him for 6-7 minutes straight there, just to sort of let him have at it and just get reps and learn. And yes, Damian Dunn. That's one of the things that these two transfer portal additions bring is free throw shooting. Guys who get to the line,
get to the line
at the line. Damian
I
Dunn
want to say Damian Dunn before Temple beat U of H here in February. I don't remember when that game was. Damian Dunn led the country in percentage of attempts that turned into free throws. I mean, he just draws contact, and that's going to be huge for this team, especially in the Big 12. If you have guards that are going to the hoop and drawing that contact, that's going to turn everything around, especially in the last 8 minutes. And, you know, you're going to win games because of things like that. And more on free throws. I like a free throw podcast myself. It's like me doing kickers. Yeah. So that is a good thing. Thank you, Nuke. What a nice name, Nuke. My big takeaway from tonight is what's going to happen tomorrow, and that's the film. The guys really being held accountable. Emmanuel Sharp is going to be taken to the woodshed for not getting a rebound tonight. Jamal Shed is going to be targeted for something else. JoJo Tugler, the early fouls, that's going to be a problem for Kelvin. Everybody's got something to work on, and that's exactly where you want to be coming out of that first game. Then you have a quick turnaround, so they'll have all week for this Saturday game, and then they'll turn around and play Monday. That's by design too. You want to see your team kind of an NCAA tournament kind of deal. So you get a Saturday, Monday, Thursday, Saturday in the tournament. So you're going to see something different out of this team come Saturday. I think it's fascinating what's going to happen Saturday and Monday. We also have to go to a football game between those two. What's your big takeaway from tonight?
One of the things that I was wondering is how long it's going to take sort of LJ Cryer to get comfortable in the offense. You could tell that he wasn't quite there. The shots weren't quite there. And he, you know, when Shed was off and he was on, basically as a point guard, didn't seem totally in simpatico to me.
First game, of course. But yeah, that's sort of one of the things is how long it's going to take for him to get comfortable and how he's going to progress everywhere else as a defender
rebounder, things like that, because that's sort of that's what a good U of H 2 guard is able to do. Marcus Sasser, Quentin Grimes, Kyle Edwards, they're able to play good defensively, are able to rebound well enough on top of being such a good shooter. And I think that's going to be a big deal moving on. And yeah.
Connor, can we be honest with each other, me and you? It's because they hate me. Because they want me to be here all day. From 10 a.m. to, I don't know, 1 in the morning. They hate me. That's the reason. They're not going to publicize that, but that's the reason. I think they had the opportunity to do it a little later, but it's homecoming. It's a festival. I believe last year they played the basketball game first. There was a weekend like this. They played the basketball game first and then did football. Was that Tulsa? And then U of H lost the game. So maybe they're just trying something different here. But I think it's probably because you have that quick turnaround on Monday, and they're going to give the guys just that much more rest. I think that's what they would tell us if we asked. But we're probably not going to ask because nobody wants to get yelled at. There are new people in the media room. Maybe they can ask. So that's going to be the show tonight. I think that was pretty good. That's a lot better than those football shows.
We're going to do questions?
Yeah, what you got?
Have you seen a prettier shot than Emmanuel Sharps?
No. I'm going to tell you. I give all credit to Galen Robinson. We were sitting in our practice last year. Actually, it was before the season. We were doing some NIL stuff. And he was just bragging on Emmanuel's shot. And the two of them were sitting watching some video and talking about shooting and talking about just the art of being a guard. And I'm just a guy there like, okay, I have nothing to offer. So I'm just going to hang out and listen and learn. And then Galen and I were sitting in the practice, sitting right over there. And I asked him about that shot. And he looked at me like that quick, and he was like, that's the best shot. He looks so good. Look at that. Look at how it just releases and it comes out. And you mentioned this earlier. It's coming out faster. It looks faster. And you're just going to have a hard time defending that, especially with all the options that this offense has. If Emmanuel Sharp is hitting those, it's going to be a long day for whoever they're playing.
Yeah, and he looks like he's moving faster. He looks like he looks in better shape.
I think that's true.
Yeah, I just think that shot. I mean, I don't know how many other shots I like watching more than that shot.
It's pretty.
And he started today. He probably won't start. Next game or
why?
Because
of the rebounding.
I assume it'd be Damian Dunn was the starter. I assume they put Damian Dunn on the bench because of his ankle injury coming in.
Yeah,
but
probably because he just hasn't practiced that much.
Yeah. But as a 6-man, as sort of a microwave 6-man, it could be very, very good.
Did you say microwave?
Microwave, yeah.
Okay. Starns is teaching me all the lingo right now. ULM has a hashtag that I didn't get at all. Starns immediately was like, "Oh, it's this." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
It was got your 6. It's not that.
Got your 6. Didn't know what that meant, but it's 6 behind you. You're looking at the 12. The 6 is behind you. Got your back. So thank you for helping an elderly white man understand the culture a little bit more. I have no questions for you. I think you were badass in this entire episode. You did a great job.
Thank you.
I was also here. But thank you all for watching. This has been fun. A lot more fun than the football shows have been the last couple of weeks. But we'll get better or not. So thank you, Gus. Thank you for everybody watching. Go Cougs. We have so much going on this week. There's so much happening. And we're doing football and basketball all week and homecoming and 2 games. Next Saturday, we'll go after the football game. So we'll cover basketball and football all at once. Thank you so much for watching. And that's it. That's all. Bye, Starns.
Bye, Ryan.